Yandere simulator. A staple of my middle school life, sitting in the cafeteria with my friends and excitedly talking about new updates to the game, waiting patiently and eagerly for the full game until it was finally released in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Ugh. Never being finished because the creator groomed a 16-year-old. Yeah. Well, I guess this is a good time for my Yandere redesign series, at least. Hello, and welcome to the Lemonade Stand. This video will be part 2 of the Yandere Simulator Rival Redesign series, so if you haven't seen part 1, go check that out using the link in the description or by clicking the little info card that pops up on screen right about now. Okay, now that you've watched it, I want to clarify a few things. First of all, I'm sure you've noticed that it's been months since part 1 came out, so I'm sure you're wondering why the heck it's taken me so long to come out with this video. It was a number of things, really. Me getting ready to go off to university, not being satisfied with the designs I came up with, and my art style taking a weird detour were a few of the reasons. But one big thing was that I also didn't like the first 2 designs that I did. Ayano and Osana look okay in the first video, but looking back, my art has grown so much since I posted that, and the art styles are completely different to my current one too. So the speed paint you're watching right now is me doing a slight edit of both their designs. I realized that while I addressed the uniforms issue, I didn't change the uniforms all that much, and they still looked exactly like middle school uniforms, so I just changed it to a plain white dress shirt with a blazer, which feels much more grown up. Of course, some of the girls break the blazer rule, but there's always a reason for those exceptions. For Ayano specifically, I changed her Azula-looking hairstyle that I gave her. I don't know why I gave her that stupid bun and the golden circle thing, like, what even was that? But I replaced it with a half ponytail, which I think is more simple and alludes to her iconic in-game ponytail anyways. I didn't change Osana much at all either, but I did give her the blazer instead of the sweater because she doesn't really have a good reason to be breaking dress code, and if any of the girls are going to like the preppy academia vibe anyways, it's going to be Osana. I feel like I didn't really properly explain how I would change the game playthrough-wise if I was in charge of it. One of the things that I did mention was that I wanted Ayano and Osana to be friends, but I don't think I really clarified what that meant. Essentially, I want there to be a route in the game where you don't necessarily have to kill. I feel like it would make it much more impactful as a game if every character that you encounter that you would have to kill or would want to kill to get to Senpai, you feel empathy towards, and you as a player feel bad for having to kill them. So essentially, you could have a friendship route, or you could pretend to be friends with them in order to further hide your identity as a yandere. And I just feel like it would make the game more immersive, and honestly, it would make it much more fun, because even if you do absolutely have to kill someone, like if they find you doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, even if you're just blaming something bad on one of the rivals to get them kicked out of school or something like that. If something bad happens and someone sees you doing that and you have to kill them and then you'd get caught, you as a player would feel guilty for doing that, and it would make the game much more interesting, and I feel like just honestly better. So the reason why Ayano and Osana were going to be friends is kind of to allude to that change in the game. Also, about Osana's personality change, I mean, it's not a huge change. She's still a tsundere. I just didn't want her to be another bland one. I didn't want her to be whiny like she is in the game, because tsunderes are supposed to have depth to them, and they're not just supposed to complain. They're supposed to be mean on purpose. But she's childhood friends with Senpai, so it doesn't really make sense for her to have such a whiny, annoying personality, because why would he stay friends with her all of those years if she was just whining all the time? We don't need another token tsundere girl. Sawachika Eri already walked, so Aisaka Tagu could run. Okay, we don't need another token 90s tsundere trope. especially not one that's as annoying as this. Okay, now that we've clarified all of that, we have finally gotten to the moment you've all been waiting for, the next 3 rival redesigns. Let's get to it. First up, we have Kizana Tsunobu, the drama club president. In the game, Kizana is an elitist thespian whose main reason for liking Senpai is that he would grovel at her feet, which is weird. Now, to be clear, I never liked Kizana. I know her whole thing is that she's entitled and she's stuck up, and that's supposed to be the appeal of this trope, but honestly, I feel nothing but hate for her. Like, I always hated her. I mean, like, she kind of ate with the Romeo and Juliet line, like I'll be Juliet, will you be my Romeo? Like that, she kind of ate with that, but like, I still don't like her. That was really bad. I decided to take traits I see from a lot of people in my past theater classes and apply them to Kizana, since I was and still am a theater kid at heart. Of course, I took from the meaner actresses I knew, but to be honest, there were a lot of mean actresses in my theater classes to take reference from, so, this is pretty easy. One of the main things about theater kids is that we are dedicated to the stage. When I was in that class, I spent every waking minute thinking, eating, and breathing Hairspray Jr., and I pulled so many all-nighters when I was appointed manager of our UIL play in middle school, which we didn't end up doing because of COVID, and I am still mad about that because I spent so many hours working on that script. Oh my god, my life is full of stress. I imagine that Kizana would be dedicated like that, but in a more snobby way. My version of Kizana is jealous of Ayano's interest in Senpai, but only takes it out on her by challenging her for the lead role in the school play. Over time, maybe she loses her hatred for Ayano and gets so lost in the stage that she ends up forming a bond with her, giving her tips, and maybe even letting Ayano be her understudy when she eventually wins the part. Ayano would still hate her, of course, but I wanted to tie in the fact that the player should feel guilty about killing these girls to get to Senpai, which is what I mentioned in the intro. Maybe there's a friendship route like I previously stated. Maybe you can be friends with Kizana. Maybe you can pretend to be friends with her and then kill her. Who knows? Anyways, as far as her physical design, I kept the rose motifs to a minimal, but I still wanted her to have dramatic flair. I took away those stupid croissant buns that everybody hates, and I replaced them with an elegant side braid with some gold jewelry to make her feel rich and suave. One fun detail to note is that I put little scars on her hands from trying to sew her own costumes. She wanted to do theater costume design in the past, but decided to stick to the stage the 5th time she slipped with the fabric scissors. And here she is. I think it's a major improvement from her snarky original version. Let me know what you think. And next into the pot is Amaya Odayaka, the cooking club president.
Oh my gosh, I get it.
Cool.
That was a funny joke.
I get it.
That was the joke.
That was such a funny joke. Get it? So
Yeah,
the
that
joke
was really
is
great.
that she's
Oh
the
my God.
cooking club.
I'm gonna give you a
president,
Netflix
and, like, the
special.
pot
That was
thing,
really cool.
and she's
That was
like
so cool.
into
Oh my
the
gosh,
pot.
that was
so
so
funny.
Yay!
I'm gonna be honest, this design is pretty much solely responsible for the lateness of this part too. I knew what I wanted her to look like right away, but when I tell you I drew her over and over and over again and it just wasn't looking right. Oh my god. What you're seeing here is my most final piece for her, so bear with me through the speed paint, okay? But while you're watching that, let's talk about Amaya herself. In-game, Amaya is kind of a doormat stereotype. All she wants is to bake things for senpai, and she's generally portrayed as just a housewife in high school font, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like we should be able to explore more about her than just like she cooks, she cleans, and she's promoting her new book on Tradwife TikTok. Nonetheless, I wanted to keep her sweet and innocent personality, so I gave her some traits to further convey that. I'm a sucker for a good bandana moment, so I put her hair in these very low twin buns, and I just switched the color of the bandana to a flowery yellow pattern. I gave her a hand-stitched apron to go over her uniform, which, by the way, she never changes year-round, she always wears it. Typically, students wear shorter skirts in the summer and longer skirts in the winter to accommodate for the temperature, but I thought it would be a nice touch to have Amaya keep her floor-length skirt all year. After all, if she drops cake mix on herself, it's easier to wash the skirt at school rather than her legs. Since her personality is so soft and sweet, I decided to round out her features and make her a bit curvier, as well as making her eyes more downturned and droopy. Story-wise, I don't think Amaya's love for senpai would be very prominent in her life. I like to imagine that she spends most of her time baking, and her crush on him is pretty minimal, though she does enjoy having him sample her treats every now and then. She's nice to everyone and loves other people in the kitchen with her, and she's just an all-around kind person. And lastly, for this video, we have my absolute favorite rival, a girl who is near and dear to my heart, Okaruto. Despite her name being a tragic pun, I have always loved Oka so much. Of course, I was an emo little 12-year-old when I really started getting into the game, so naturally I gravitated towards the literal occult girl. Even so, she's just such a cute character, and I'm so mad that she'll never get to shine in a completed game, even if she is a bad example of the big boob goth girlfriend archetype. I have a lot to say about what I did with her design, probably more than any others I've done, to be honest. You might be looking at this thinking, where the heck is her uniform? There is no way she'd get away with that. But let me explain. Oka is wearing a puffy black blouse over her school uniform, added that cool cheer chain belt thing. I don't know what it is, honestly. It came to me in a vision, but it's a sheer chain belt thing, as well as having a choker and spiderweb fishnet sleeves. Now, any normal student would never get away with this, but I like to think that all the teachers are scared that she'll curse them since she's into demonic stuff. So she's the one student in the whole school who could literally get away with doing anything she wants, even though she never would break the rules. She's too well-mannered for that. The most that she does is break dress code. But, you know, that's just Oka. I was almost tempted to give her trad goth makeup, but I decided it would be too bold for her timid demeanor, so I settled for black eyeliner, lipstick, and dark eyeshadow. She has 2 ghost pins on her collar named Simon and Cowell, respectively, which, yes, I know, Simon Cowell, haha, but I was on call when I was drawing this, and my friend thought it was funny, so I had to do it. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but you may have noticed that I gave each of the girls different tie pins. Kizana's was a little rose, Amaya's was a little cupcake, and now we have Oka. The tie pins are to replace the infamous Yandere dev thigh highs that the girls wore, since the tie pins better display the girls' individuality. As you can see, in Oka's case, she has a little sword with blood drop-shaped beads hanging from it. If I'm being frank, she's my absolute favorite design so far, and I am so glad I was able to do my favorite girl justice. And with that, our redesigns for Kizana, Amaya, and Oka are done. Thank you so much for watching and sticking through to the end. I know this video took a long time to come out, but I promise I am working on having a more consistent and faster upload schedule. It's going to be hard these next few weeks as I am moving away to go to university, but I will do my best to give you all the content you want and deserve. If you liked this video and want to see more, please subscribe and give the video a like so you don't miss the next one. Wait, should I try to do the Yandere dev outro? I'm gonna try. Okay, wait, give me a sec. And as always, thank you for following the development of Yandere Simulator. I don't know. God, this is such a stupid idea. In all seriousness, thank you for stopping by the lemonade stand.